So today I want to talk about how I direct my feature film, how I approach them, how I direct actors on set. I just want to go in depth to give you all the tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. The most important part in every filmmaking aspect is that as a director, you need to have a signature. You need to start with short film and music videos and stuff like that before you attack a feature film. Because I think it's really important is that when you are at the stage of a feature film, you found yourself, you find your style, you found that signature that people can say, this is a film by Pascal, this is a film by ... And by experimenting with music, by style, composer, band around the world that you found that you try with your footage, you need to find yourself as a director because you're gonna bring a certain tone and voice so that the audience understand who you are and they are introduced to that new person. Over the years, a lot of people ask me, is it necessary to go to film school? My answer is no. Nowadays, you just go on YouTube and you find anything that you have to, You Google masterclass about filmmaking, you're gonna have 25 million videos about it. You have this channel, is all about feature film. So there's so many places and person online who teaches filmmaking. So at this point now, with the technology that costs nothing, it's really about just to go out there and just shoot. You don't need to waste $35,000 to go to a private school. That's the thing. For buying your gear is going to cost you, $10,000, and you're going to have everything that you need to go make a professional feature film. So I would say the only advantages to go to film school is to make connection, but even though it's kind of a stretch. I'm always suggesting is that when it's time to make a feature film, it needs to speak about you. Again, I'm talking about my style, what it speaks to me, the style of film that I'm making. They need to be personal. For me, when I make my films, I'm trying to make them as personal as possible so that anybody knows me, or when I'm doing interviews and they ask me about my stories or film that I'm doing, it's me. Every characters are part of me. The stories are always part of my childhood or things that I'm experiencing right now. And I think it just makes the story or the film process way more exciting because it's all of me. I think it's crucial that you really write scripts that speaks about your personal life and you project that into the script. 80s films was just such a big part of my life. That's what shaped me. Not really the 90s, it's really the 80s. Even to this day, every film that you can see about me, you'll see the music choices is really 80s synth oriented. The casting, I don't know, every aspect, there's always kind of a 80s reference in some way. And so that's part of my signature that I love. Once you feel you got your signature, that you understand your voice, that you know exactly how to project all of you on screen, then it's time to really go make the film. And the first thing I would say is write a script, make a film that you can do. But I know my limits. I know what I can do, what I cannot do. And so I write my script based on those limitations. Once you know the budget that you have, then make sure that the script or location or props or anything represent that budget, because it's easy to just lose track of it and the budget can just completely explode. It's going to make you excited in those limitations because at least it gives you a circle of place where you can play, and in that circle you can do anything you want. I've done so many films where I've shot in different countries in different languages, and people ask me, why do you do that? You don't speak Swedish or Icelandic or whatever. No, but I know in that circle of bubble of ideas that I can do in my limitation, I can still go shoot in so many different languages and it's not gonna cost me more money. It's just a language, it's just musical. The direction is the same. The way you approach the actors is the same. Of course, everyone needs to speak English, but after that, you trust that they know the dialogue, you trust that they know the script, that they follow the direction. And after that, when I'm done with the scene, I'm always going back to make sure, they said exactly the same thing. But when you direct them, you just pay attention to the tone and the musicality of the way they pronunciate their words. And that's what's going to tell you if they got the emotion exactly like you wanted. The word itself, it doesn't matter. It's really the tone and the musicality in it that's going to make the big difference. So for me, that's always been something that I loved exploring, was just let's just make so many different films all around the world without any kind of boundaries of languages. Of course, we always have our inspiration. Everything has been done. Everything is already been said 25 million times. It's just what can you bring that's going to feel different, that's going to feel you, because like I said, your signature is going to bring something completely unique about it. Don't limit yourself because you want to do a film that has been done before. What is the original way or angle that you can approach? So if you saw different films from directors that you love and you want to steal from that, go for it. Don't hold back, but just make sure that you tweak it in an interesting way that makes unique to you and for the audience. When I work with actors, it's important that we have the same languages, in a sense where we speak the same language of film. So when it's time to make the film, I completely explain to them in details. Of course, they need to understand the script, they need to understand the characters, and you need to make sure that it's done before and not on set, because when it's time to shoot, they need to understand completely all the layers and shape of that character. Of course, on the set, you're going to explain the intention, but it's always a reminder. It's never a full explanation of the scene, because they're supposed to have done the work. That when they arrive and they know exactly, okay, today we're doing this scene, they should know. For you, technically, as a director, you only remind them the goal. And sometime when you see something, then you adjust the performance. Because if you do a scene and they completely miss the mark, it's because of you, because you didn't take the time to really explain to them exactly the story, the scene, the script, and you need to do that months before shooting. So that's why your relationship with the actors needs to be so bounded that you always talk with them. And so that when it's time to arrive on set, you know exactly what you're doing. When it's time to do the scene, you only shape their performance, but it's supposed to be a little tweaking here and there because the work has been done before. So for that, you need to have actors that completely trust you. You need them to have the space to try new things, because it's okay to have a vision of where you're going, but actors are brilliant. You're hiring them because they want to be creative and they want to be creative with you. So don't block them just because you have such a tight vision or tunnel vision on your film. Take the time, take 10-20 minutes to just sometime, hey, have fun, I'm gonna give you a take. What can you bring? Do you have any kind of ideas? I don't know. Or if something doesn't work, take the time and ask your actor, something doesn't work. I think what I had on paper, and now with everything that I see with the scene, with the location, lighting, whatever, it's not working. How can we fix that together? How can we make sure that we can go to the next step? So that's why give the space to your actor to bring ideas so that you can collaborate together, and it makes them feel so important, feel good, and they're gonna give you way more because you give them the space to play. And the way I write my script or work with my actors is that I write them with actors that I know I love. For example, all my film that I've done mostly in Europe, it's always the same actor that I'm reworking all the time because I don't have to direct them anymore. When I'm working with Sarah Agno in Sweden, I've worked with her with 3 feature films, and now it's just to the point of just like, this is the script, dress like this, cool, she showed me options, perfect, we got it, that's it. And when we do this scene, I can just do, hey, next one, bring it here. And she's like, okay, cool, perfect. And we just know exactly what we're talking about because she got experience with me and I got experience with her, and we have the language of communicating perfectly together. And that's the beauty, and I think that's the luxury of working with the same actor over and over, is because you barely have to talk anymore, and it makes the shoot way faster. You don't lose time, you don't waste money because it's moving so fast. I don't do storyboard. I've never done it. I'm not gonna do it. I suck at drawing. I think it kills the creativity. Of course, it can help you shape the vision of the film and where it's going, and you can see it perfectly. But I think for me, it kind of killed the joys of making a film. If I had a huge team, maybe I would storyboard with someone because you want to save time. But because my crew is so small that it's just mostly 4 or 5 people total with the actors and me and my sound guy, I have the luxury to shoot way faster. So by not having a storyboard, it gives you the freedom of just when you're there to just experiment like crazy. And for me, the camera is the audience. So for example, I'm trying things, I'm experiencing things, and sometimes when I'm moving the gimbal or whatever, I discover a thing that I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I want to do that. I want to see that again. So it's really when I arrive on set that I discover everything. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is how the set is going to look, or the apartment or the place, whatever I'm shooting, it's always going to be different. So it's just hard to get the storyboard idea because everything's going to be so different when I'm going to arrive. That's why I just go with the flow, and I really trust my instinct. That's my compass. I trust myself, I trust what I can do, and I give myself the chance to just go explore. And when I direct my actor, one thing that I do is that I want to do one take for me. Not every time, but most of the time. I want to try, okay, cool, I'm going to do a one take where let's do the whole scene from start to finish, just to see if, sometime with the angle I can create something interesting. Can I discover something while I'm doing it? Is the actor, by doing it a super long take of, let's say, 3 minutes, do they going to bring something new to the table? It's all those things that sometimes you cannot plan, but by giving them the space to try, sometimes, most of my film, there's always a moment where I'm like, that's a good thing that I did that extra take. Because it's a full takes, the emotion is going to be different. This scene is going to shape in a different way compared if you just block it. So I would say just don't be afraid to give yourself one last take where you just do the whole thing and you experiment with the camera, and there's a good chance something beautiful is going to happen. Don't be afraid to change your script. I always say that a script for me is a blueprint. So sometimes I take the script, I throw it out because who cares? Don't be stuck with your ego of just like, this is the script, this is what it's supposed to be. You're going to completely destroy the film because you're blocking yourself to just new creativity ideas. Sometimes you have to let go of the script to go into that new direction that might completely change your film for the better. I don't really do like festival darling film. Like for me, I know my style is really poppy. It's not everyone who fits in those type of festivals that it's kind of festival darling, where it's more normal life or a critique on society and something like that. It's never been something that interesting me. I think, I don't know, for me, I want to live in a world where it's dreamy. I don't want to recreate real life. I love when everything is supposed to be exaggerated. I love when everything is just with the big music that is super ambient and 80s melancholy. I love that. But it's okay, don't try to fit into that one mold. There are festivals for everyone, but in general, when you try to get to those super big festivals, it's super hard because either you don't have the connection, second, your film doesn't represent that at all. So that's why you need to find festivals that's gonna work with the type of film that you're doing. The last thing I would say is that the more film you direct, the more film you write, the better you're gonna be. And of course it seems obvious, but no, a lot of people just write a lot of scripts. But you don't get better by just writing. You get better by writing a film, you direct it, you change everything in it, then you do the post-production, everything changes again, and then when you're done, you send it to festivals, you do premiere, and that's the big test. It's when you sit down in the premiere place, that's what I hate the most, because people are there's maybe 200, 300 people, whatever, watching your film, and then you see people walking out. Everyone walks out in theaters when it's a premiere, whatever. Not everyone stays, and that is the worst feeling in the world. If for some reason, when you watch your film on the big screen with an audience, you see all your flaws that you didn't see in your editing room. I don't know why, but for me it's like this. Every time I sit down and I watch on the big screen, I see all my problems and I take notes. Am I gonna have to go back and change this? That's way too long. Why didn't see that? After watching all those reaction and comment and critiques, then you go back and you rewrite, and trust me, you'll never make the same mistake twice. But if you just write scripts all the time, you'll never get that feedback, judgment, critique, annihilation. You're never gonna feel that. You need to see it on the big screen, see the big reaction, or good or bad, and then you go back and you rewrite. That's how you get better, not by just writing without directing them. Once you do that process multiple times, so don't be afraid to fail. I failed, I'm gonna talk about it later. But after that, that's how you're really gonna be a great writer and a good director, because you're gonna learn so much by seeing the whole process from start to finish.